Hi, welcome back to the Next Big Thing podcast. I'm Pinky, and today I'll be chatting with lifestyle and wellness YouTube star Fernanda Ramirez. And Fernanda, lovely to meet you today.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be on here and talking to you. I'm very excited.
Yep, so how are you today so far?
I am good. This morning I woke up early. I had some videos to film, so I've already been up at 'em, and I'm just excited to, yeah, be talking, I guess, on here.
That's good. Like, can you start off by telling us a little bit about yourself? Give us a little backgrounder.
So I mean, I am 21 years old and I am from Vancouver, Canada, and I am a lifestyle, wellness, fashion YouTuber or content creator. And as of recently, I'm a podcast host, so that's very exciting. My podcast is in the self-help and personal stories categories, but yeah, I love what I do, so I'm just so happy to be doing what I do.
That's exciting. Like I watch like your videos and obviously listen to your podcast, but I would like to ask also like I'm curious to know how did it all started? Like what
Mhm.
led to this content creation career? What inspired you to first start your YouTube channel?
hmm I had been watching YouTube since I was so young, and I was always just like, I just wanted to be like those girls, like they were talking on camera, like showing their lives. And I think ever since I was younger, I was always very talkative. And so expressing myself like on camera was something that I loved to do ever since I was young. So when I learned how to edit and when I got my first camera, it just kind of felt fitting to try it out and see how it would work. And ever since I posted my first video, I just fell in love with the process that it just kept going after that, and I just felt very confident doing it, so it just continued on.
What was your first video? Is it still on YouTube? I
Yeah,
don't believe. Is it?
it is actually. It's my graduation when I like graduated from high school, and at the time when I was filming it, I actually didn't even have a YouTube channel, but I would bring my camera everywhere, and I remember telling my friends like, "Oh, one day when I have a YouTube, like one day." And I remember that summer I got my first camera, so I was like, "Now's the time. We're gonna edit this video that I had." So.
That's cool. Like, did you always know you said you always like to do like be talking and like talking to camera, like watching your video, I love your energy and meeting you also like the confidence shining through. Like, do you think your journey has been improving or like how would you give advice to people who want to be like more confident or like
Mhm.
more self-assured, I'd say?
Mhm. I would say that when I first started my channel, it definitely wasn't the exact same. Like I was very authentic because I thought that nobody was watching my videos. But as the time has grown, first of all, I think I kept that energy of feeling like it's no one watching, it's just you and the camera. Like it doesn't matter what you put out there, just be yourself. And what I've learned throughout that process is that the more I was myself, the more people receive that positively and they like to see that. And now I feel like I wouldn't be where I am if I didn't show my personality through. So I feel like that in itself gave me self assurance. And I think that's like a learning lesson to anyone. Like if you are yourself, that's like what sticks out the most and what like sets you apart from everyone else.
Yeah, that's good advice.
Mhm.
Like, but will you say you feel weird if you're filming outside in the public? Because some YouTuber, even though they've been in online or been
Mhm.
in YouTube for so long, they would sometimes be like, "Oh, I feel weird taking my camera out. I
Yeah.
feel kind of weird like shooting." Do you have
Yeah,
that
no,
feeling at all?
no, it definitely still, I get so nervous sometimes when I'm in public. I just pretend like there's nobody there. Like it's kind of, I guess, hard to like pretend like they're not there, but I think you just in my case, I feel like I'm filming and I just remember that like this video will be better if I just film it and I suck it up and I just pretend like nobody's watching. And also I think everybody else is so concerned with themselves that they're not actually really paying attention to you. So I think for someone else starting for the first time, I think, just try your best to be yourself and not like imagine that anybody is watching, not care about what those people may think or may see.
Yeah. Like a lot of people right now, like a lot of younger generation or like kids growing up, they would
Mhm.
want to say this is like they would want to say, "Oh, I want to grow up to be a content creator. I want to be an
Mhm.
influencer." Like, how do you feel about that? Or like what advice would you give them because of everything happening online? It could be good, it could be bad, and like
Mhm.
everything that comes with it. Like what would you say
Yeah.
to them?
I would say that if it's something that you genuinely want to do and you have like a passion for it or you have like a feeling that you could be good at it or, I would say to try it 100% and try like posting or whatever things that you like to talk about or things that you like to see and just see where it goes. I do think that it's a like it's harder than you may see sometimes. Like it takes a lot of effort, but it's really rewarding. So if you put in a lot of work, you're going to get a lot of results in return. So I would say to try it out and just see how it goes.
Yeah. When you say about rewarding, I do want to ask, like, what's the best thing so far ever since you started this content
Um,
creation career?
I mean, I think it's rewarding every day, like seeing comments and seeing like messages and like seeing how it helps people in real life and having them like say like this helps me day to day. Like I watched this to get through this, or this made me so much more confident. This made me so much more happy. And I think because of that, I try to make my content very like helpful and just like giving advice or giving tips or giving like practical help for people to use. Because yeah, I think there's no better feeling than being able to
And
inspire or to help someone else.
yeah, definitely. But like, where do you get inspiration from? From like where you're sharing about tips or like how you're being helpful? Like, how do you actually, do you read a lot? Do you research a lot? Or it's almost like come naturally? You just know what to
Mhm.
say.
I mean, I like reading a lot of like self-help books. I think that's very helpful to gain knowledge for myself, but I think also just seeing like my friends or my family, just like day-to-day people, like what they struggle with, and then seeing how I can be of help for that, like online. So I think, even having constructive criticism from other people or the comments or someone saying, I need a lot of help with this issue. How can I fix this? And then I can read books on it or like research it and then make an episode or talk about that. And then that way people inspire me. And I feel like a lot of times, even though I get ideas for myself, I would like to think that the content that I create is for other people. So I just want to see what they want in return from me.
Yeah. Like, is there any fun stories to share when people ask about, I don't know, maybe some weird advices that you've ever had?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, sometimes people ask very personal questions and it can be kind of funny. I feel like there's, some topics, some like I think I don't know. I think it's hard because girls also want to see very honest or like a big sister online. And
Mm-hmm.
so I feel like I tried my best to give as much advice, but some questions are very personal, or people will be asking about relationships or like, things like that, which can be a little tricky to navigate, but it's funny to read them. And I get it because I can imagine like if you're younger and you want advice,
Yeah.
who else do you ask? But
Yeah. Do they DM you or do they just comment publicly?
They can DM me or they'll comment publicly, or I do a lot of Q&As like on my
Oh,
Instagram
yeah.
stories, so questions, and then people type in their box there. And I guess that one it's not anonymous, but other people can't see it, so I think they're
Yeah.
more bold on there. But they are funny to look back on.
Any like things that come into mind that's like you were shocked when you
Um,
read that?
I mean, people ask a lot of like even like your period experiences or first times with relationships or
Just
like
everything
yeah,
relationship.
just yeah. And I'm like, I have to remember like my parents are watching this, my probably ex-coaches are watching this, my relatives can be watching this. So I think that sometimes people online forget that the other person is a person too with like family and
Yeah.
stuff. So yeah, that's the only thing. But it's okay.
That's funny.
hmm
Like you also do a lot of videos on YouTube about living alone. Like how's
hmm
it going so far? How long have you been living alone?
I have been living over I've been living alone for a little bit over a year now. So
Nice.
I feel set in stone. Like I feel good where I am, but it was definitely hard at the beginning. I think it was just a big transition and I didn't realize that it was going to be like moving out
This
is a big
hard?
thing. Yeah, it's like a big deal and in my head I'm like, "Oh, a new apartment. I just get to move." And then I think after the excitement settled in, I was like, "Damn, I'm really just alone here." But it's okay. Now I really like it.
You liked it so far? I
hmm
also lived alone too, but I was gonna ask you like what are like what prompted it at first? Did you just really want to move out from home
hmm
or like did you want to move into a city? I didn't exactly know where you're from in
Yeah.
Vancouver, but that's what I was curious to know. Like what prompted it and then how's the experience so far?
Yeah, I used to live in a smaller city, probably like 45 minutes away from downtown Vancouver, and I really like it there. I have a lot of friends and my family is there, but I think I had been doing YouTube now for like 2 years kind of at the time, and I just felt kind of like in a little bit of a creative rut. Like I just wanted a new setup, a new like scenery, and I think that like having my family around a lot of the time was kind of hard to film. And that's not to say that it's not possible because I know a lot of people say like, "Oh, how can I make a YouTube channel if I don't have like an aesthetic home?" But I mean, I that's how I started growing and that's how I did it and it worked. But yeah, I also think I was very fortunate enough that by the time I moved out, I had saved a lot of my money from like YouTube and stuff. So, yeah, I wanted to live in the city, just a change of scenery and just kind of have my own space and gain independence. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's been really nice so far and I feel like the lighting is so much better obviously, or all those little things
You
just
love your
improve.
background,
Thank
obviously.
you. Yeah, I it's really nice and I feel like just seeing like it's kind of motivating to be in the city.
Do you like would you encourage people moving out alone, especially for girls, I say?
Um, I would say so, but at the same time, I think if you don't feel ready, then there's no rush. I think it can be a lot if you're not prepared for it, or maybe if you don't have like family or friends close by. But I do think that it like pushes you to grow so much, and I've probably grown like more than I ever have in the past year. So,
Yeah, definitely.
mhm.
With the bills, with everything, you're fixing your
Yeah,
home, you're moving furniture and everything.
yeah, you definitely, it's adulting. That's what it is.
Yeah, yeah, that is.
New, yeah.
And like was that also you also like recently in your podcast, I was gonna ask you about your podcast, but I
Mhm,
remember listening to a recent episode you were promoting to do a lot of things alone. You were saying
mhm.
like, hey girl, go get it, do some things alone. Like Vancouver, it's kind of known for being difficult to make friends. Would you say
Yeah.
that's true, or is that one of the reason why you kind of do that promotion for people to go out alone?
Yeah. I definitely struggled a little bit making friends when I first moved here because I think Vancouver is just not everybody, of course. I don't want to speak for everyone, but I think people here are very focused on themselves and they are working or they're working out or they grow up with their high school friends, so they stay with their high school friends. And I think everyone's very stuck to their own way, and it can be challenging to make friends. And for that, I mean, I spent a lot of the time where I first moved here doing things alone, and I think I got really good at spending that time alone. And I think that there's always people that can struggle like making friends, and I think even though I have a good group of friends, I show my friends a lot, and I know that there's always comments of people saying like, "What if you don't have friends? What if you don't have a group of friends?" And I feel like that's one of the ways that I can help other people and be like, "It's okay if you don't have friends right now. Like, I can encourage you to make friends, but also if you want to enjoy this time on your own, that's also like perfectly fine, and you
Yeah.
can have just as much fun."
What's like the starting point you would say? Were you always comfortable being alone, or did you also gradually grow into being that since you moved?
Um, I spent a lot of time alone even when I was at home. I think I would go to like cafes a lot, and I think especially being a YouTuber, there's not many other people that do the same thing as you, especially in like a small town in British Columbia, Canada. So I kind of had to learn to like make my own way and be there for myself and do things on my own, work on my own. And yeah, I traveled a lot on my own, so I think it over time I just became a lot more used to it and learned to like enjoy my own company. Um, but I definitely think that it's something that you can get better at if you're not like good at it right off the bat.
Like, what's the first place people should go if they want to try to be alone and doing stuff?
hmm I would say coffee shops. I think that's like my favorite. Like if you have a computer or you have a journal or a notebook, like going to a cute coffee shop, everyone there half the time is on their own, so I don't think anyone is really paying attention to you, but also like going to the park, you can maybe that feels a little bit like everyone's watching you, but I think everyone is doing their own thing. Yeah, I think either one, even having like music playing or something, then you kind of feel like you're in your own little bubble, but yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. Like, talk about cafes. Like, I'm in Vancouver actually too. So tell me
Okay.
about your favorite cafes here. I do want to know.
Yeah, well, in Vancouver, I think recently I went to one called Nelson and the Seagull, I think. It's in Gastown and it's super cute. It's like just so open, and I think that's like when I'm working, I like to be in like open spaces. I also love going to Brecca, which is a
Yeah, yeah.
24/7 hour, or like it's open 24 hours. Um, what else? I like going to Small Victory. They have really good coffee there.
Hmm.
And yeah, I think even just walking around like Burrow, I think is another one, like in Gastown. Gastown has so many cute cafes.
That's cool. Like, this is a hot take, but I would like to ask, do you like Tim Hortons as a Canadian?
Mm. I like Tim Hortons, but I don't go there as often just because I feel like when I get coffee, like half of the fun is the experience of going to the coffee shop.
Yeah.
Whereas like I'm not a huge like coffee fanatic, so I just like I like going for the scenery, just like the environment, and Tim Hortons is good. They have really good donuts and Timbits and stuff, but I think it's fun to explore different ones and it's kind of like it gives you something to look forward to like visit a new one.
Of course. And your go-to drink, you say?
My go-to drink right now is probably an iced vanilla latte with oat milk, which is very basic, but it's good.
It's the simple D's that are good anyway.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, so like I would like to ask also on your fashion side of your career, like how would you describe your own fashion style?
Hmm. I think that it's always changing, and especially right now as I'm getting older, I feel like I'm kind of like navigating like a switch in style. But I like wearing a lot of like basic pieces like neutrals and then having like unique like shoes or bags or accessories and having like pops of colors in it. I know that when I tried doing the whole like neutral look, like no color, and I think that my
Not your vibe.
personality, I just gravitate towards color. I like brighter things, so I feel like incorporating different little pieces here and there just like makes the outfit more exciting.
Like for some people, they don't really like colors. Like where would
Mhm.
you suggest them to start if they want to incorporate colors into their fashion?
Um, I think that like pastel colors are like pretty easy. They're very simple and they're like pretty muted, so it's not so bright and aggressive. And again, like maybe in a bag or in shoes or like jewelry, you can kind of incorporate color here and there. But um, yeah, I think that it's also like what colors suit you the best. So if you like figure out what colors look good on you, then it probably enhances like your beauty and stuff. So yeah, I think figuring out that is helpful.
How do you do that for yourself? Like how do you figure out what color actually looks good
I
on
mean,
yourself?
I feel like I have a lot of clothes now and I'm always just taking photos. So I just see like what I think looks the best or what matches like brown hair or like blue eyes. Or I saw someone recently say that if you have like a celebrity that like looks like you, like same color of skin, eyes, and hair, you can see what colors like they wear or what outfits or what silhouettes they wear. And it's like
Yeah.
they have stylists and makeup artists. So if you kind of find someone that has similar looks to you, you can kind of see what looks good on them and then replicate that.
That's actually great tips because I feel
Mhm.
like everyone's scrolling on Instagram, TikTok anyway, looking at people, but never really
Exactly.
thought of that, like to reference to whoever that looks similar to you.
I know, and I think that it's like a good tip also because especially with online, like a lot of comparison can happen, but you can compare to someone that looks nothing like you. So if you find someone that you like and like you look up to and like they have similar fashion style or appearance wise, you can replicate that.
Cool. That's so like really interesting. Like I would totally do that. Like
Hmm.
so for people who are like looking for their own style, like how would you suggest them to start or like to find what actually it's gonna like be looking good on them or like find their own style basically. I feel like a lot of people they might be following on trends like to see what everyone else is wearing, but that may not necessarily look good on themselves. Like what's the
Yeah.
tips for them?
Again, I think like I mean, I like looking at Pinterest or like on like YouTube videos or TikTok or anything. There's like countless videos if you search up like outfit ideas. And
Yeah.
again, if you, I think if you find someone that has similar like type as you, that's super helpful. And yeah, just accentuating the curves or like your body type that you already have. Because even on myself, sometimes I see someone wear something and I want to wear it, but I like that just doesn't suit my body type. So
Yeah.
it's best to not replicate that exactly and just wear pieces that are very flattering and like form fitting. I feel like you can't go wrong if you're just shopping for your body type.
That's true. And then jumping back to both your YouTube and podcast, I do want to know like how did it all start with your podcast? 'Cause you started with YouTube first, and then have you
Mhm.
found any difficulties in a sense with thinking about what to talk about on YouTube and then what to talk about on the podcast?
Hmm. Um, well, I have my YouTube channel now for like 3 years, and for YouTube, I don't find it too hard to think of ideas because I think there's always something to show, and people are always requesting things, and the videos at most are like 20 minutes long. So I feel like there's so many things you can do, or even just show your day-to-day life, which is what I do a lot of the time. But definitely on podcasts, it can be a little more challenging because you're talking about a subject for like 40 minutes. And I've had to learn to like slow down my speech because especially in YouTube videos, I'm used to like very fast pace that like I think naturally I talk faster now. So even on this, I might be talking kind of fast. But yeah, I had my YouTube channel for like 3 years and I just wanted to do something different or like try a new medium, I guess. And
Hmm.
again, I love to talk. So I'm like, podcast is the perfect one for me. And I've loved it so far.
Yeah, I loved it too. I'm very impressed, honestly, to hear you talk by yourself,
Mhm.
like for 40 minutes straight on one topic. Do you do a lot of research, you'd say, about that too?
Um, yeah, I do a lot. I usually before I film, I'll pick my topic, and then if I have books on it, I'll like read them, or I'll look up online and then make some like bullet points, or like have an outline for how I want to talk, and then I'll go through it kind of how I have it, and then add in like personal stories or how it can relate to me. And I think that way it can be more interesting than just like straight to the point, like giving advice or telling tips. I think people really like to see that personal aspect of it, and then they can like relate to that.
Yeah, about that, is there something that you feel like your fans or your audience don't know about you, but then it's something unknown that you would like to share?
Unknown that I would like to share.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
I'm not forcing you to say something you don't want
no,
to, so.
no. No, I feel like I'm pretty open. The only things that I feel like I don't speak too much up online is probably like my relationship or like my family. I
Mhm.
feel like I like having some things to myself that I don't
Sure.
have to explain, and then it's not, I don't know. I think I've seen a lot of YouTubers or like TikTokers or Instagram, like just social media people in general, where they almost over explain and then you can't take it back once it's out. So I feel like you have to be very careful with things that are very personal to you, or like maybe your friendships and stuff. But
Mhm.
other than that, I feel like I'm pretty open with like almost anything. And, I guess maybe when I was younger, I wish that I've like had a YouTube channel so I could have showed like my high school experience, or like I did gymnastics for like 10 years. I did cheer for like 3 years. Like if I had shown that, I think that would have been really cool because that was my life at that time.
Yeah. Well, that's so
Yeah.
cool to know that you've been doing that. And
Hmm.
like, is there anyone on YouTube or like basically online that you would like to do a collaboration with? Because so far, I feel like what I've seen, you've done a lot of videos, but on your own. Is there any?
Hmm.
I mean, I don't feel like this is a trend right now. Like YouTube
Yeah.
evolved a lot from people doing a lot of collaboration challenges to now a lot of vlogs and everything. But have you
Yeah.
ever think about having a collab someday?
Yeah, I mean, when before the pandemic happened, I like was watching YouTube all the time, and I always saw people collaborate, and like that was my dream at the time. And I think since the pandemic happened, people got very comfortable filming on their own, and that's when I started. So I kind of came to the party late basically, because now I'm doing all of them on my own. But I would love to do a collaboration, or like I know at the time like brand trips were like really popular on YouTube and stuff. And I think that would be like a great experience, and just even helpful for myself to see other people that are doing the same thing as me, or like learn from other people that have been doing it longer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if I have a specific person. I mean, honestly, anybody in my niche or like lifestyle,
Yeah.
fashion, wellness, anyone, I would just be happy to
Who
learn
do
from or
you
to just spend time with.
Yeah, who do you watch when you're younger? Like, do you want to collab with them or like someone like that?
When I was younger, there was so many. And it's crazy now because I've met a lot of these people now, and like I'd say
Mhm.
I'm like good friends or like mutuals with them online. But like My Life as Ava, Alicia Marie, like there was all these girls on there. Even yeah, I don't. There's just so many girls that I
Yeah,
grew up watching. Even Emma Chamberlain, like that would be amazing. But yeah, they're all. I look up to everybody on there.
that's cool. And like, what kind of content can we expect from you ahead? I heard that you're traveling soon. Is that what we're gonna
Yeah.
expect from you?
Yes, I'm going to Costa Rica on in 5 days actually. So I'm definitely going to be filming some travel vlogs while I'm there. And then I want to travel more throughout the summer, and potentially I don't know if this is gonna happen, but I would love to like move to New York or LA for like even if it's like 3 months or
Mhm.
maybe longer if I like that. But I think that would be super cool and like a whole different chapter for people to follow along with, and for me to just experience living somewhere else that isn't even close to my family or my friends here, and just like trying that. So I think right now that is what's next. And with my podcast, I have some upcoming projects that I think will be really cool that people can keep an eye out on. But yeah.
That's exciting news. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm happy to hear that you're even open to moving alone after you started your life here, moving. Like, I mean, in the city, moving alone.
Mhm.
You want to
Yeah,
do that again?
I mean, I think that especially in my like early 20s, I'm just open to experiencing life like in so many different places, and I don't want to get too comfortable in one so that I can have that experience and like
Yeah.
move around. And I definitely think that if I was to move across and like not be able to come back, maybe it'd be a different story. But if I go for like 3 months and I know that I can come back here after, I feel like that would put my heart at ease. So
Yeah, but that's definitely the way to go. But thank you,
mhm.
Fernanda, today for telling us all about your life so far and your
Thank
content
you.
creation career.
Thank you for having me. I had such a good time talking.